the poems from your junior section. This is the poem, Mr. Nobody. And you can see the writer's name, the poet's name is not given. So I have written anonymous. Anonymous means the poet's name is not given here. Now, who is this Mr. Nobody and all? Before we go into it, let us go into the mischief part. Now, there are two kinds of mischief which is done. One which is intentional, number two which is unintentional. The one which is intentional, that one is the mischief which we do on a regular basis, sometimes knowingly. And what is that? Suppose you break mangoes from your neighbor's house. That is intentional. You broke the mangoes to eat them raw, nice or ripe. You want to eat them. You intentionally did this mischief. Unintentionally is accidentally something happens, like you break a glass plate. That is accidental. So there are mischief which are done intentionally, knowingly, and unintentionally or unknowingly, accidentally it may happen. Now what happens in case of all this mischief? We, in most cases, if no one has seen, we try to blame it on someone else so that we may not suffer the punishment. Simple reason. If you say to your mother, you break the glass, your mother is going to beat you, scold you and all. But if you say, I don't know who did it, then you escape from the punishment. So that is exactly what is being said here. That is exactly what is being mentioned out here also. This poem is also about a mysterious character. That is why you see there is a question mark. Who is this Mr. Nobody? Not known. This Mr. Nobody is someone whom we do not know. It is totally unknown character. In fact, he does not exist. This Mr. Nobody does not exist. There is no one called Mr. Nobody. Why do we invent him? Why do we call him? We refer to him or we call him because we want to put the blame on him. I did not break the glass, he broke the glass. Okay. I did not do this thing. It is done by someone else. Okay. I did not leave the tap open. I did not, somebody else. Who? Mr. Nobody. I did not keep the staircase light on all night. I did not do it. Someone else did. Mr. Nobody did. So like that. So now come on to the poem. I know a funny little man. Funny little man as quiet as a mouse. A mouse doesn't make much of noise. It quietly comes, takes the food and goes away. Similarly, I know a funny little man as quiet as a mouse. As quiet as a mouse is an example of simile. Simile is a figure of speech where comparison is made. So here this little funny man is compared to a mouse. This funny man comes quietly and secretly, similarly to a mouse. So just as a mouse comes secretly and does his job and goes away, similarly this funny man comes, does his job and goes away. Who does the mischief that is done in everybody's house. So just as a mouse comes and secretly takes away all the food or eats up all the things and goes away, similarly this man comes, does the mischief that is done in everybody's house and then he goes away. He is not to be seen. His only object is to do the mischief. There is no one ever sees his face. A very important line, no one ever sees his face. No one ever sees his face means no one has seen his face. Why? There is no such person. How can you see his face? There is no such person. And yet we all agree that every plate we break was cracked by Mr. Nobody. Although no one has seen him, although no one has seen his face, although no one has seen him doing anything, yet still, whenever a glass is broken, whenever a plate is broken, it is done by Mr. Nobody. We all accuse him, we all put the blame on Mr. Nobody. Tis he. Tis he means it is he. So before T you have an apostrophe, that means it is. So tis he who always tears out books. You use your books very roughly and as a result what happens? The pages come out and if your parents ask you, who has done this? I did not do it. I don't know. Mr. Nobody did. So it is he who tears out the pages from your books. Who leaves the door ajar. Ajar means a bit open. A little bit open. Ajar. He pulls the buttons from our shirts and scatters pins afar. He pulls the buttons from the shirts. Your shirt button is torn. What happens? He will say, I did not do it. You will say, I did not do it. Mr. Nobody did. I don't know who did it. And scatters pins afar. Pins are scattered all around. Suppose you try to take it out from the drawer and it gets scattered. He says, I did not do it. Mr. Nobody did it. That squeaking door will always squeak for Prithvi, don't you see? We leave the oiling to be done by Mr. Nobody. Again, a job is neglected here. You have hinges on the doors. Hinges on the doors with the help of which it moves from left to right, or it opens and closes. Now, these hinges are made of iron, so they need to be oiled. And if you do not oil them, what happens? They will make clicking sound, squeaking sound, and that is exactly what the door does. But unfortunately, everyone has forgotten to oil those hinges. And whenever someone is asked to oil it, they say, I don't know, Mr. Nobody will do it. So they leave it for Mr. Nobody to do. Everyone thinks that the other one will do. In this way, the job is left by everyone. And no one does it. And that is why it is left incomplete. And they expect someone else to do it. And who is this person? Mr. Nobody. He puts damp wood upon the fire that kettles cannot boil. Kettles cannot boil the damp wood because the damp wood has a water content in it, so it gives a lot of smoke without much fire. And if anybody asks, who put this damp wood? I don't know, Mr. Nobody put it. So the damp wood makes or prevents the kettle from boiling. His are the feet that brings in mud and all the carpets soil. Carpets are soiled by the muddy patches or marks, foot marks. So if you come in with your muddy marks on the carpet and you soil up the carpet, you make the carpet dirty, and then somebody says, who has done this dirt all around the carpet? Who has made it dirty? Who has made it muddy? So I don't know. Mr. Nobody did. I don't know who did it. So all the blame on Mr. Nobody. He has come in that muddy foot and done all those mischief. But actually it is, as you know, as I said in the beginning of the poem, there is no one called Mr. Nobody. So it is actually someone in the house who has done it, but he is not saying that I have done it. He is putting the blame on Mr. Nobody. He is saying, I don't know, Mr. Nobody did it. I don't know. So I have not done it. In this way, he escaped punishment. Just as that person who put the damp wood in the fire, he also escaped punishment, similar to that. The papers always are mislaid. Who has them last? But he. If the papers are not to be found, who is to be blamed? Again, Mr. Nobody. You have put the paper somewhere and you do not know where you have put it. And you say, who has put the papers? Where they are? And everyone says, where is? And you say, no, I did not put it. Mr. Nobody put it. I don't know who put it where. I don't know. So you do not take the responsibility and say, oh no, it was I who put the papers for the last time. I am responsible. You do not say that. Or no one says that. Even if not you, no one in the house says that no, I did it. I put the papers last in the drawer, so I am responsible. No. They accuse others and they say, I don't know, Mr. Nobody did it. There's no one tosses them about but Mr. Nobody. And if the papers are tossed around, if the things are tossed around here and there, who is accused? Mr. Nobody is accused. Mr. Nobody is said to be the person who has done all those things, because no one in the house, male or female, he or she, no one says that I have done it. They all accuse and put the blame on Mr. Nobody. The finger marks upon the door by none of us are made. Children, as you know, they have dirty fingers and they put their hands here and there, and the walls or the doors or the glasses, panes, they are all filled up with those fingerprints. But no children or no child says, no person says, I have done those marks. They say, we have not done anything. It is Mr. Nobody who has put his dirty fingerprints or hand marks on those places. We never leave the blinds unclosed to let the curtains fade. So when the blinds are left unclosed, what happens? The sunlight directly affects the curtains, and the curtain color fades. And if the parents ask, who has done this? Of course, everyone says, we did not do this. We did not leave the blinds unclosed. Okay, so the blinds are left unclosed, resulting in the curtains of the window getting faded. The color gets faded if the blinds are left unclosed. If it is left closed, then it acts as a border and prevents the curtains from being faded. But if it is unclosed, what happens? The sunlight directly comes in and hits those curtains, and the color of the curtains fades. That is not expected. That is why the blinds are closed. Okay, blinds are all these flaps. You pull a rope and they are one by one sequentially arranged. I'll put a picture up for you to see. You can see it. The ink we never spill. When the ink is spilled by the children, they do not say we spilled the ink. They say Mr. Nobody has spilled the ink all over the desk or the floor. The boots that lying around you see are not our boots, they all belong to Mr. Nobody. Again, the boots which are lying about here and there, the clothes which are lying here and there, no, they are not our boots, they are not our clothes, they are of somebody else. It's not mine, they belong to Mr. Nobody. So in this way, Mr. Nobody is a fictional character, is a made-up character who is blamed for all the mischief in the house, although no one has seen him. There is actually no such character. They just blame him and put the responsibility on him so that they may escape punishment. So I hope you have understood this poem so far as I have tried to explain. If you have found it interesting, of course, like, share and comment and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.